News Radio WAM 1180 welcomes you to the Seniors Rock Show. The Seniors Rock Show, a lively weekly discussion shedding a bright light on aging with fun, entertainment, and important info for all adults. Join us with your comments or questions. Call or text 222-1180 or 1-800-295-1180. Now, from the News Radio WAM 1180 studios in downtown Rochester, here's your host, Joanna Palvino.
Good morning, everybody. Yep, I'm Joanna, and we're here today and every Saturday from 11 till noon. I say we, my co-host, estate planning attorney, Mike Robinson of the Law Office of Michael Robinson, and our studio producer, Pam, and we like to bring you things to think about, places to go. We talk about those things in the end of the show usually, and maybe we just try to give you a reason to smile, and I hope that happens today. It's all good. And if you're out and about right now and you're in the car, for example, and you're going to a picnic, bring your radio with you on your phone, of course, and go. Are you laughing because I said radio? I know. Anyway, iHeartRadio app. See, Fitz is laughing at me over there, Mr. Electronics. Okay, so anyway, let's move on. He's making me laugh, and he is someone who makes everybody smile. He's our friend Scott Fitzgerald. A lot of people know him. He's the president of VOX Recording and Production, and he's a whiz at supporting people to produce quality podcasts and to stay up to date on how to call things that are electronic. I don't know. What are they, Fitz? What are they? What would you call all this stuff that we're doing?
Techie
Media?
stuff.
Techie stuff. Thank you. Yeah, we'll get to you later, you smarty pants. Anyway, podcasting is what the rage is right now. And we asked Fitz to tell us everything we need to know about podcasting today. So it's going to be an interesting subject. And, I think a lot of people think about, aspiring to record themselves, and everybody has a passion and everybody wants to do it. So we're here live. If you are thinking about those things, then please join in the conversation. And you could do that by calling 585-222-1180. And we'd love to have you with us and thankful for your participation. So again, 585-222-1180. We're live. It's radio, and we're here for you. And we're really busy lately, and I think everybody is. And things come at us really quickly. And speaking about techie stuff and media and social media and all these things, these ads come at you quick. Everyone is the best. In my opinion, everybody, it's important to research things. And that is anything you're considering buying, or maybe anyone that's offering you a service. You should check them out. There's lots of ways to do that are safe. So do that. And again, don't click through things if you're on social media. From social media, you're supposed to go to the website and then go that way because that's safer. I'll just throw that in there because we like to. And there are a lot of slick approaches that mislead people out there. So we like to warn you of those things. And our sponsors, by the way, are people you can trust and companies you can trust, and they're all located and listed and linked at seniorsrockradio.com. So check them out. And, I was thinking earlier when I was preparing the show, one thing I wouldn't want to gamble with, Mike, you should be listening, is my lifelong savings. And Mike, you've had the proper education, decades of experience as an estate planning attorney. And I want to ask you now, what should listeners look for when they're considering a will or estate planning attorney, please? Because it's an important thing. And we always talk about estate planning, but how do you get to the beginning and picking one?
Yeah, and happy Saturday, Joanna. It's a question I get from time to time, and even though it may not be the most common question I get, I think it might be one of the most important questions I get because, as you rightly indicated, when we talk about estate planning, we're talking about dealing with everything you've worked a lifetime to build, and the people impacted by your estate plan are the people who you love most in all the world. So it's an important question, and there's some questions that you can ask when you're interviewing an estate planning attorney to help you make that decision. And one of those questions would be, well, what are their practice areas? Do they focus their practice on estate planning, or are they practicing in a number of different areas of the law? Estate planning is not simple. There's many considerations, there's many nuances, there are law changes to keep up with. And I think, Joanna, I would be wary of working with someone who doesn't focus exclusively on estate planning. And that, by the way, includes helping with the administration of the estate plan when someone dies. You want to be sure
Mhm.
that the firm who creates your estate plan is going to assist you and your family. Well, not you so much when you pass, but your family,
Right.
uh, because that's obviously important too. Certainly you want to ask about their experience. For how many years have they been doing estate planning? How many wills or trusts have they drafted? How many estates have they administered after someone has died? And it doesn't mean it has to be the person who's been practicing for the longest, but you certainly want to work with someone with enough experience who can understand not only the various strategies available, but which of those strategies work best for certain situations and which strategies do not work well for certain situations. And that only
Right.
comes with not only years of experience, but the number of cases someone has worked on. I'd also ask about their process. How involved will the attorney be? There's
That's
certainly
important.
nothing, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with having a competent paralegal be part of the process, but this is legal work, and you should be getting plenty of face time with the attorney. Also, how many meetings will you have in developing your estate plan? This is incredibly important to you and your family, and it's not something to be rushed. Over the years, we found that 4 or 5 meetings typically are needed if we're really going to develop a custom crafted estate plan that truly addresses any client's specific needs. Um, Part of that process also includes how are you going to be charged? And I would encourage people to look for a flat fee. You deserve certainty, and I just personally wouldn't be comfortable with hourly billing in this area because you just have no control over the ultimate cost.
Oh, yeah, that can
Um,
get really confusing too. I remember working in an agency and having all different people doing that, the hourly rate. It does, it gets confusing and a lot of questions and a lot of time-consuming stuff. So thanks for saying that one.
Exactly. And sometimes you want to be able to just talk with somebody and not be charged for it. And I mean, to me, that's part of the relationship building that goes into creating a good estate plan. And
Uh-huh.
I guess that leads into another consideration is how do you feel when you meet with the attorney? Do you feel like this is someone who truly is interested in you and in finding the estate planning solution that's right for you and your family? Or does it feel like they're trying to push you into something?
Mhm.
And then finally, if you're creating a trust-based estate plan, what help are you going to be getting with funding the trust? And we've talked about this before, Joanna. Funding, which is properly titling the assets and coordinating beneficiary designations with the trust, it is absolutely critical to making the plan work. And I've seen so many estate plans fail simply because they were not funded properly. So you do want to make sure you're going to be getting help with funding, and also you want to make sure that the attorney you're working with has the requisite financial expertise to know not only how to properly title assets and coordinate beneficiary designations, but who also understands what assets are appropriate to own depending on what you're wanting to accomplish with your estate plan. So, those are some considerations I think are important. As we've said before, we're fortunate here in the Rochester area to have a number of really very good estate planning attorneys. But
And we have
it's
one right
certainly,
here, by the way.
well,
You.
thank you. But also, so it's important to do your due diligence still, and make sure that you address those areas that I've mentioned.
Thank you so much, Mike. And Mike has over, what, 3 decades now, almost 4.
Coming on
Ex
4.
Yeah, whoa, he sounds young, I know. But anyway, we love being older on this show. And and having an experience is really important. And I wrote down the other couple of things just to recap what you said because they're all so important, Mike. Thank you. So, folks, when you are looking at hiring a potential attorney to do your estate plan or will, These are the things you should look at. Look at their practice areas or ask them about them. How many do they do? Maybe one is a good idea, right? Experience. What kinds of things have they worked on? Maybe it's not a lot of years, but they should be things that are important to you. The process is important. How do you get through getting all of this done? And do you connect personally? You can feel it if you don't. So, understanding finances and funding is important. All great points. Thank you, Mike, again. And you're a great attorney, and he's right. There's a lot of them, but if you don't have one, it's not good. Anyway, you guys stay tuned, please, because Fitz is coming up from VOX Recording and a discussion about podcasting next on News Radio Wham 1180 and the Seniors Rock Radio Show.
Welcome back to Seniors Rock Radio, and joining us now is Scott Fitzgerald, or Fitz as we know him. Fitz is president and chief creative at VOX Recording and Production. Raised in South Florida, Fitz started his production career working with cruise lines before he moved to Rochester and worked in advertising and radio. A chance freelance position gave him the opportunity to start his own voiceover recording and video production business. And he thought podcasts would be a great addition to the business. So he added the first turnkey podcast studio in the Rochester area. Welcome to the Seniors Rock Show, Fitz.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it is. It is nice to see you, and we love going to the studio. So I thought it would be great to have you come in. I know we talk a lot about podcast Fits, and you are the man when it comes to that. So thank you also for joining us. And let's jump right into our main topic, which of course is podcasting, and where we started and where we are now. And we go through a lot of changes in technology, as we were laughing about earlier. But I guess I want to go back with you. When did you first get into podcasting?
Ooh, I have to go way back. It was actually, I want to say 2005 that I first got into podcasting.
Oh, that's
and
so far away. No.
It was really difficult back then. It was one thing to record your show, record what you wanted to do, but it was this whole other experience to try to put it up on the internet for people to download, because podcasting came from the iPod. So what you did is you took your iPod and plugged it into your computer, and it looked to see what you were subscribed to. And if it saw a new episode of a show, then it would download it automatically.
Oh.
And so now it's just so much easier. And podcasting, it's not an iPod thing. You can listen to it pretty much on any device that you have. So it's really transcended where it started from. And it's gotten so much easier. I mean, just about anybody can do a podcast now.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I've heard quite a few different things, and some good, some bad. You obviously have a wonderful voice for this because you are, a media professional. You've been on the radio before.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a nice voice.
I wish I had Mike's voice, to be honest with you. He's got the best voice.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
shaking his head. He's shaking his head. No, he's got the best voice and the best beard too.
True. But back to you. So here's the question. I've heard some bad ones, okay?
Mm.
Do you feel, I guess everybody has their own taste, but do you think that people should have some voice talent or some creative writing skills at least to start a podcast?
Definitely helps. I don't believe that. I mean, there's some people who do podcasts that I would definitely not suggest they get into radio or voice work, but they have something interesting to say, and it's well conceived and well executed. One thing that I like to say is podcasts are like babies. Everybody can make one, but not everybody should. So, it's a kind of thing where you bring up a good point. If you want to start a podcast, you really need to have something to say.
Yes, I don't like it. I like hearing banter and about people's lives and all that, but some of it is just terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll talk today about how you can make it better, right?
Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
No, that's right. But Fitz, that leads to my question is, what are the basic steps you tell people to take when they ask, where do I start if I want to create a podcast?
Well, I tell them the first thing is flesh out your idea, write an outline, come up with what you want to talk about, and make it like almost like you're creating a series for television or something where you say, all right, let's do 10 episodes. What are we going to talk about in 10? Well, we're going to talk about golf. Okay. Well, let's see. Where do you start in episode 1 and where will we end up in episode 10? And then you start filling in the blanks. It's a lot like, if you try to uh, create a narrative and a story that goes from point A to point B. Now, that's not always possible depending on the subject matter, but there's still a framework that you can follow to make it interesting for the listener, and so you get somewhere.
Yeah, and I do know for a fact that if you go to Rock VOX, and I didn't mean this to be a cheap plug here, but Fitz does provide you with a list of the steps that you should take, right, Fitz? I mean, you have it already ironed out on one page. It's pretty easy to follow.
Yeah, and they're not hard, fast rules. They're suggestions. And some of the best podcasts, and just like some of the best TV shows and movies, are the ones that kind of did their own thing and didn't follow the rules. So the rules are there to help you get started, and your own creativity is what's going to take you down to the next level.
Yeah, and that brings me to a question. I have heard some podcasts that might alarm people with the language. So,
Yeah.
there's no rating system on these things. So, is there a way that do they usually warn people if the language is bad or not so much?
So when we're posting podcasts, there's an option to click explicit. So if
Oh,
people are using language that's not for all audiences, you can click the explicit button, and then that will tell people in the podcast platform that this has explicit language. And most conscientious podcasters will also put something in their show notes in the description that says, viewer discretion advised, or something like that. We're going to talk about some really painful things, or things that are not for all audiences, and that's up to the discretion of the podcaster. The really good ones do that, and you're correct, there is no rating system, there is nothing that really polices that.
yeah. And if you're listening on a speaker, obviously in the house or whatever, you have to be careful of those things. It's okay for adults, but or even some adults will be offended because I've heard things myself where I thought, I'm not in this. I gotta go.
Yeah.
So thanks for explaining that. And there's so many different genres. I think it's awesome. And is that the music I hear? But we're going to be going to break here and listening to the news on News Radio Wham 1180. But we will be back soon with Scott Fitzgerald. And you can call if you have questions, 585-222-1180. We're live. We're here for you. If you have a question about podcasting or anything else, give us a buzz. We'll be right back. Rock Radio, and we are here every Saturday from 11 till noon. I'll put that in there real quick, and we're live, so you can feel free to call if you like. We'll be here for another half hour or so, and if you have questions about podcasting, our guest is Scott Fitzgerald of Rock Vox Recording and Production, and he can answer your questions. So give us a call, 585-222-1180. That's 585-222-1180. Pam will take your call. And if you don't want to be on the air, you can even leave the question with her, and she'll patch it through to us here in the studio. And I see Mike holding his hand up there. Did you have another question, Mike?
Yeah, Fitz, I was going to ask you, what do you provide podcasters in the Rock VOX studio?
Oh boy, how much time we have? Not a lot, but I'll sum it up. So we have, like you said at the beginning of the show, we have a turnkey podcast studio, which basically means that someone who wants to do a podcast can essentially come in, sit down, record their podcast, and walk out. They don't have to worry about any of the technical stuff. They say, you do the talky stuff, we'll do the techie stuff. So in addition to that, we will help them, say, maybe give them some pointers on how to be better on the microphone as far as mic placement is concerned, help them figure out how to get through an idea. Sometimes we can rewrite something for them. And there's a lot of different things that we do. The biggest one really is providing the studio space and our producing capabilities. But we'll get it right from the beginning to show you how to post it, how to put it on all the platforms, and even how to create promos for it.
That's fantastic. What is your favorite part of running a podcasting studio?
Oh, the people. I have just so many different kinds of people that come in here to do podcasts, and they all have a unique story, and they're all have these amazing ideas and these amazing personalities, and that's just what I love. It's a lot of times it's just laughing, laughing, laughing.
Huh, I never laugh. I know that. I've been in there a few times. Are you referring to me?
You always laugh. You're the laughingest person I know.
I know. I try to stop. I don't know. I don't know. Is it annoying?
No,
All right.
I
I'd
like
rather be laughing
laughing.
than crying,
Laughter
right?
is good.
All
Laughter
right.
is good for the soul.
Yeah. They say you live longer too, so I say laugh it up. Um, and all right, we're talking about your favorites here. I'm going to ask you, put you on the spot. What do you have a favorite podcast? I know you work with so many people and you won't offend anyone, but do you have a favorite?
So currently my favorite podcast is called More Love, The Power of Empathy.
Ah.
And it's two ladies who are complete opposites. One is a holds a PhD in psychology and the other one doesn't. And they just talk about various subjects throughout the day, and it usually comes back around to how people can have more empathy in their lives, and the difference between, like, if I say something to you, how you perceive what I said as opposed to what I actually meant, and the difference in language. It's interesting, but there's a lot of comedy involved, so there's a lot of laughing.
Yeah, a lot of the language and just yeah, how we perceive things and the mood we're in. There's so many different variables that I think can change, what you're hearing from someone or change the context of the conversation. Very interesting. Yeah, so I'm going to note that. I'll check it out. And folks, if you haven't checked out podcasts, if you go to that iHeartRadio app along with our radio show on 1180 Wham 1180, you can see all different podcasts. You can put in, a subject and they'll pull them up for you. And I think it's pretty interesting. And of course, the Seniors Rock Show is on there and they upload that every week. So let's see. Fitz, let's go back to you while we have the time. Is there is there anything specific? Do you have any advice for someone that's starting a podcast, like, out of nowhere?
The biggest piece of advice that I would tell them is decide what your long game is. Now, some people don't really think down, I'm going to do a podcast, and they don't think, how long am I going to do the podcast? What, they get 10 episodes done and they're like, I just ran out of things to say. So really figure out what the long-term goal of the podcast is, and just outline it. Figure it out. Try to get at least 10 or 20 episode ideas written down so that you can go from there.
Well, that makes sense. And is there any genre or, do you think there's anything that's been surfacing that's like the most popular kind of thing that's going on? I guess I'm gonna guess right now. I hear a lot of these, murder mystery kind of
Yeah.
things.
True
Yeah.
crime. True
Yeah,
crime
true crime.
podcasts have always been tops in people's favorites, and there's quite a few that I've listened to over the years too that I enjoy. But yeah, I mean that I haven't looked at the stats lately, but I'm pretty sure that is right up there in the top
Yeah,
3.
I would bet.
And
Mike and
Fitz,
Pam, do you guys listen to podcasts?
I don't myself. My wife listens to quite a few of them, but I was just going to say, Scott, we've been talking a lot about audio, but you'll help people with video as well, correct?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
sir. That's kind of the big trend over the last couple of years has been, not only are you doing audio for your podcast, that's traditionally what it was, just recording like a radio show that you can download. Um, People like to add video aspect to it because it people like to see them in the studio, and you could also incorporate a lot of other visuals that you normally couldn't add with just audio. So yes, very common thing now is doing video.
Whoops. Yeah, video's awesome, and Fitz is the man to see, and he even has a green screen thing, so you could do whatever you want in the background. A lot of fun. Thank you so much, Fitz, for joining us today, folks. Go to rockvox.com. It's ROC, V as in Victor, OX.com. And you can talk to Fitz anytime. He's usually there, and he would love to hear from you, right, Fitz?
It's absolutely. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Great to
We'll
have
have
you.
you on again. Yeah, we'll see you soon, and we'll see you next week. And we're going to do some recording over there. Folks, it's a great place. It's right in Bushnell's Basin, right outside of Rochester. Easy to get to, right off the expressway. All right, Fitz, take care. Have a great rest of your weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. And you know what? I could make a podcast about getting clean indoor air, guys, because it's actually quite easy. And I could tell you all about it. You just have to call indoor air professionals for an air duct cleaning. And cleaner air in your home or place of business is just a phone call away. Today, you'll save cash money when you book your first air duct cleaning. That's hard to say with Indoor Air Pros. It's not hard to do, though, because you're going to win a big budget. I mean, a big budget. You're going to get a lot of money off is what I'm trying to say, to the tune of $175 off of your first air duct cleaning from the experts. That's 175. You'll get healthier air, healthier people and pets. Call Peter Gordon today. He's our friend. Ask him about the best deals for Seniors Rock Radio listeners. You can even get $350 off a Healthway portable medical grade air purifier or $500 off of the whole house unit. Terrific savings. Don't miss this, folks. Get your air clean now. Then when you close it up for the winter, hey, it'll be wonderful. Cleaner air is easy. Call Peter at Indoor Air Pros, 585-427-8020, 585-427-8020, or just visit indoorairpro.com. Tell them Seniors Rock sent you. We're going to be right back in a few minutes after the break, and we have an exciting announcement to make. It's about the show, so if you're a listener, please stay with us. We have something to tell you right after the break. Welcome back to Seniors Rock Radio. And as I promised, we're excited to announce, are you ready? Drum roll, that Seniors Rock Radio's new presenting sponsor is Effortlessly Healthy Meals and Shayna Cesaro. Woohoo! We're excited about that. And she's a local person, and she is quite an entrepreneur and she's big on family, and she brings so much motivation to anybody that meets her. It's crazy. And her love of healthy living and food to the program is going to be so wonderful for everybody, us and you listeners. So Shayna will be sharing tips to get started on a path to feeling your best each week. Did I mention she's so much fun and she's an amazing mom too? And there's lots more to getting in shape with Shayna in the coming weeks. I want to thank Shayna for her commitment to the show as our new presenting sponsor. I'm so excited to have her coming on board, and she will start next week. And I think she's on the it looks like she's called in there. Shayna, are you there?
Yeah, here I am. Here I am. That was such a warming welcome. Thank you. I'm excited as well.
I'm so happy to have you here. And where are you today? I hear you're off site.
Well, I was at Soccer Shots, and now I'm actually sitting in a sub shop eating lunch with my kids because my son was very hungry after his soccer game.
Did he win?
He scored the first goal.
Whoa, excellent. That's great. Well, I am so looking forward to having you on the show on a more regular basis and for all the things you're going to bring to the show, Shayna. Thank you so much. We'll let you get back to having lunch with the kids. We will talk to you more next week and in the weeks to come. So thank you again for stepping up and being our sponsor and for all of your commitment to health.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to everyone enjoying my motivational minutes.
Absolutely, and they're great. So thank you. Go ahead, have your healthy lunch there. Say hi to the kids, and we'll talk to you soon.
Have a great day.
You too, Shayna. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. That's Shayna Cesaro, and she's Effortlessly Healthy Meals and so much more. And you'll learn about her in the coming weeks. And I could make a podcast. No, I didn't want to say that. I'm sorry. I already said we talked about podcasts. I just wanted to thank Fitz for that. And next week, Mike and I are going to be broadcasting live from Agape Physical Therapy's Community Wellness Fair. I wanted to make sure I shared that with you. And we're talking about health and wellness. It's Agape's. I think it's I don't know how many times they've done this, but we were out there last year at Brockport. We had a blast. They have all kinds of things to do. This one is at Agape PT's Chile location, and that's on Saturday, August 10th. That's next week 3240 Chili Avenue, and it's from 10 till 1. And so it's a short period of time, but I hope you'll join us for a few hours with healthy vendors. They're in person, on site at the Wellness Fair, and they're going to have folks there that will benefit you from massage therapy, nutrition, chiropractic, footwear, and even behavioral health. So that's next Saturday. We're going to be live. Mike, it's going to be a blast. We love doing those remotes. It's 10 to 1 next Saturday, folks, in the Agape Physical Therapy Chile location. Mike?
Yes, they are fun. Hope you all can join us. Hey, everybody, thanks for listening. I hope you all have a great week. Be well and be kind.
Thanks to Fitz and all our sponsors and everyone who contributes to our hour on the air. Our advocacy to support all adults wouldn't be possible without you. If you're new to the program, having trouble remembering the name, tell your friends. Just remember this: Seniors Rock.